Good morning. Wait, now we're live. Good morning, everybody. I hope all you rogues are doing well out there in Rock Bottom. I'm settling down to get some work done and do some tappity at the keys. And I thought it'd be cool to maybe give you all like a little behind the scenes look on how the sausage gets made. Like, how do I do a delve for marching order? So, when we did the first Kickstarter and I wrote the first 4 adventures, I did them all in a Google Doc and a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet was to hopefully keep track of, like, okay, if you choose option A, it goes over here, and if you choose option B, it goes over there. And it was kind of a mess. And I had to go through it a lot of times to be like, oh shit, there's a loose end over here. Oh, I never actually wrote this part. And actually, and I don't know that anyone has actually caught this yet. There's a few little, we'll say Easter eggs in the book because it makes it sound more like a benefit than a bug. There's actually a few entries that have nothing that goes to them. Like, whatever the case, when I was writing them, somehow I missed that number when I was assigning numbers to things. So there was, like, just... I don't remember what the numbers are off the top of my head, to be honest. But there was, like, let's for instance say it was, like, nothing went to number 16. So there's, like, 2 or maybe 3 of them in there like that, where it felt weird to just skip the number, or letter. I was using letters there. Same difference. They're the same thing, right? Anyway, so it felt weird to skip the letter, because that seemed like it might be more confusing. So I wrote entries for them, and... most of them started with, you shouldn't be here. If you got here, you're cheating, and X, Y, or Z happens, which might be good or bad. But yeah, that's a little Easter eggs in the book that I don't think anyone discovered. Anyway, writing it on a Google Doc in a spreadsheet sucked. So my wife, who is a lot smarter than I am, Lobar, suggested the software that she uses when she's researching doing her history research, called Obsidian. And I just really like the look of it, so I kind of wanted to show you all. This is now how I keep track of... there we go. Yeah, this is now how I keep track of the delves when I'm writing them, and where all the loose ends are. So this is... it's not actually called this, but this is the orb view. When I'm looking at this, I like to pretend I'm pondering my orb. So this is for a delve that we have not announced yet, and it's a bit off. As in time-wise, it's going to take a bit to finish it. It's going to be pretty big, as you can tell already. Well, let me explain what you're looking at. Okay, so you see all these dots on the screen? Each one of these dots is a note, or like an entry, basically. So number 1 has its own dot. Number 2 has its own dot, yada, yada, yada. And you can see all the lines that go from dot to dot. So those are connecting the different entries, right? So you can see, like... let's see, can I make this a little bigger? I think I can. So yeah, you can see all the little dots in the lines, and some dots have more lines to them, because this one was rather, like, choice and dialogue tree heavy. So some of them have a lot of options. There's a lot of options in this delve, which is like doubly glad why I'm not using a little spreadsheet to do it all. So yeah, that's this view, which is just kind of cool to look at. Honestly, functional wise for what I'm doing with this, it's not super useful for me, but I like to look at it after a day of writing to be like, oh wow, look at that, cool. So on the left hand pane here are like a list of all the different entries, just in numerical order. So let's see. Ooh, that's one that's not done yet. So toward the end are all the ones I haven't actually got to yet, because basically, like, when you write an entry and at the end of it you have a decision to go to 1 or go to 2, you can only write one of those at a time. And as they continue to kind of like branch out like that, there's just more and more unfinished entries. So thankfully they're all at the end. So the way I do it, and like this one's done here, Uh, and like, since it's a rough draft, I don't have the map all tagged with numbers, and they have to be written out over here. Anyway, so down the bottom it has, the way it has the choices of where you can go. And to the right here, this is everything that links to it. So I'll go to the end of the list. Like when I start writing, I will go to, those are ones I made little notes so I remember what my ideas were for them. Like I'll go find the first one that I hadn't done yet, and I'll go to the right here, and this is what links to it, so I can find out like, oh, how did I get here? So I'll look at that to jog my memory, write this entry, then go on to the next one repeatedly. So it's a little weird way of writing, because after a while, like the farther I've gone with, and especially true with this longer one, the farther I've gone with it, the less, what's the word I'm looking for? Chronological it is, in a sense. Because as it branches out more and more, I'll get to like so many different locations on the map and so many different like times in the whole thing that I'll do like 5 entries that are from the same area, and then it goes to like another dungeon across the map that's completely different. So like I have to keep switching my brain from different plot lines and like little storylines and the locations of it. But it works for me. So yeah, this is the initial steps of how the sausage gets made, how I do a marching order delve, and eventually I have to go back through it and combine it into an actual intelligible document for Brad to lay out, but that's a future me problem. Cool. Well, I hope you all have a great day. I hope this was useful to some of you. Also, like, honestly, I've started using this program for all of my just regular RPG campaign prep because of the way it can hyperlink together. So for like world building or like the way RPG plots happen, at least in my head, they're not this happens and this happens and this happens. It's more a web branching out type of thing, like the orb here. So it kind of helps me to like keep everything together. And like, say you write a note that's about an NPC and it mentions some locations, you can hyperlink those locations in there so that you can easily like recall that information rather than flip through an entire book. You can like click on it to go to that note or mouse over it to get the information. A few of us have been playing the Conan RPG, and I've done all my prep for that in here, and it's been great. Like I've even written out the like creature stats and everything. So when I get to a point in the notes where there's a fight and there's creatures mentioned, I can just open the creature stats right from there and have like multiple panes on my monitor and like just basically have all the pertinent information in front of me. So if anyone wants to get down with that and sorry, brain derailed. Like if you're looking for a note-taking program, this whole thing is free. And there's plugins to customize it. Like, you do have to write in markup language. So there is, like, a little bit of a learning curve, but it's not bad, honestly. Like, I don't like new things, but, like, I got it pretty quick, But it's called Obsidian, and it's free. And if you Google it, you can find it and download it. That's pretty cool. Right. I'm going to actually do some writing and some work, rather than put it off by talking to you all. Have a good day. He says awkwardly when he wasn't on the right window to actually stop the stream and now is filling while he finds the tab with the